So the hazard awareness notice is the informal option we have from our 7 notices available under HHSRS. So if we wanted to, let's say for instance we took a situation we had a really good and cooperative landlord, maybe they're accredited, and we inspected the property, they found a hazard which they were previously unaware of, and they expressed a willingness to carry out the works. You can informally agree a timescale with them, and then you can serve a hazard awareness notice. Particularly useful if you have a category 1 hazard they've been previously unaware of, and then you can serve the notice to devolve that duty to act. So you've got to do something. And it wouldn't be appropriate in this situation to serve an improvement notice, especially not as it's likely you'd charge for that. So if the landlord's going to do the works anyway, take the informal approach. Another good example of when you might use a hazard awareness notice is if you are using HHSRS for grant work, and so often there's grant or loan work available to try to reduce the level of risk from hazards in the home in owner-occupied accommodation. So if you have owner-occupied accommodation, then it would never really be appropriate to serve an improvement notice. Very rare you come with a situation where you think that was the right thing to do. So we just serve a hazard awareness notice there. Likewise, if you had a problem at the property which you thought was not terribly important, but you did want to raise it, maybe it was a D or possibly to push an E, and particularly where you found that the current tenants were quite reluctant to have any works carried out at the property to address it. Maybe it was nothing to do with it. It was something that was a problem for children, not so much for adults inhabiting the property, and the property was occupied by young professionals. Then in those situations, you might want to make the landlord aware in case they wanted to carry out some action to address the problem. So then you think about hazard awareness notice. Now all this notice does is it informs them of the hazard. It doesn't do anything else. Once they've received it, they can throw it in the bin and forget it ever existed. All that you're doing is informing them of the hazard. There's no requirement on them to carry out those works that you're suggesting in that hazard awareness notice. And all that hazard awareness notice is, it sounds more formal because it says notice. But it's just a letter which you write to the landlord of the property, and you've got details of the hazard, and you've got details of suggested works to reduce the risk to health. And that's it. You've notified them of the hazard is the hazard awareness notice. Thank you very much.